actually done a little bit more work since our last session, and I was sanding. So basically what I did was I decided that I want these legs to be able to come off. So I went ahead and used my dado blade to run a groove in those, and then you can see that I'm just setting the leg in these. I'm going to be gluing the leg to this base and screwing it in to this base. Then I'm going to use bolts, so 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts to bolt this to the tabletop, so you'll be able to take the legs off. But right now, this is kind of what she's looking like. One thing, if you're noticing something a little off, is remember I was going to put a groove here, which I did on these, but it didn't turn out so well. So I'm coming up with a unique way of doing this. I think it'll come out good, but it's going to actually hide this groove, because these didn't come out square, and then the block I put in there looked horrible. So I've come up with a different way for the runner, because there's that runner that goes underneath here. Lag bolts, these are what I'm going to put. I'm going to put 4 in each one here, coming up from this board into the leg. Plus I'm going to glue the leg to this, and then remember these all sit flush like that. Okay, we've got the legs glued up, but I don't want to just trust the glue, so I'm going to drive 1/4 inch lag bolts into the bottom to the leg. So then I need to countersink those so this stays flush with the bottom of the table. So let's go ahead and get that done on this one as an example, and I'll speed it up so I don't bore you. Now what I'm going to do is take a 13/64 bit, and I'm going to use this handy guide that I got. I love this thing. It keeps your bit straight. It's got the numbering here along the top, right up here. See if I can get that to focus. Probably can't. But anyway, you just line up your bit with the hole, and it'll fit in the hole perfectly. I know what you do. Put it in the center of that countersink. Push down on this so it's level, stable. And that gets the hole started at least, and then you can just keep going from there. And there you go. So now we've got the legs. Oh, and because I had already started to sand the legs, I used some of my friction backing there. So this is what they look like. Looking pretty good. And then we'll do some final sanding on these and seal them up. We got the bottoms set. Now what we need to do is mount these levelers in here. Now I know you might say, well, you haven't stained it yet. I get that, but I want to do it before I do any staining or anything like that. These just screw out, so that doesn't matter. I'm going to mount this, screw it in with 3 screws. I'm going to countersink this just enough so it's flush, just because I want to. And to do that, I'm going to use this Forster bit that fits that perfectly. And there we go. There's our middle. Let's mount that Forster bit. There we go. That fits. That works. Awesome. So let's clean this up. Go ahead and drill that in there. See if I made that hole deep enough. Hopefully we're not going to be bottoming out here. Well, I guess the countersink really didn't matter, because you can only screw that in so far anyway. There you go. Good. Yeah, so we'll be able to adjust it, and I may go ahead and epoxy that in anyway, the base. I probably will, just so it stays. So anyway, there's the installation of the levelers. And this is the bottom of the table, right? This is the underneath. So I'm going to put the urethane coat on this first, just so I can get an idea of how to put this stuff on. I can practice with it, then I'm going to do the edges as well. Then I'm going to put probably 3 coats on the bottom here, just to see how it comes out, how I can sand it. And then we'll tackle the top, because I didn't want to do the top and have it get kind of screwed up. So I've seen videos, a lot of people use a rag, but when I talked to the guys at Woodcraft, they recommended a sponge brush. And I'm using the General Finish Armor Seal oil and urethane. All right, gonna call it a day. So to recap today, we got the legs done, we got the screws, the holes for the legs and the holes in the bottom of the table done. I did go ahead and just place the center runner in, because starting tomorrow I'll be working on the tabletop itself. And I think we did some good progress today. Of course, scoop away bags come in handy, don't they? To weigh that center section down. It's looking good. I did put one final coat on the underside. So now the underside has 3 coats on it, and that's all it's gonna have. And then I'll put 5 to 6 coats on the top. Now this is wet, which is why it's got a sheen to it. But I already showed you what it looks like when it's dry. And I can't wait to turn this thing over tomorrow and put the first coat on the top of the table. So tomorrow's gonna be a big day. All right, everyone, have a good night. See you in the morning. Okay, so we have run into a challenge here, and challenge accepted. So my original thinking was to use these anchors, put them in here, and then, right, slide the leg over. I had countersunk some holes here. Then I bolt into them. That actually doesn't work too bad, but this has become just a pain in the neck. Getting these things drilled, they go pretty deep, and they don't line up well. So what I did is I went to Woodcraft a little while ago, and I bought these threaded inserts, which is really what I was going to go with in the first place, but I decided not to. I wish I had. So with these, really what we're doing here is we're drilling a hole, then you're threading these in there. Holes a little bit smaller than these are, and then these thread in. And by the way, it's a 15-30 seconds bit. So that's kind of not a normal bit. So you have to buy one of those at the store. But what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to epoxy these in. You have to be very, very careful that you don't get epoxy in the threads. And I have to be also very careful that I don't get any epoxy up here, because remember, the whole reason for doing this is so that I can take these legs off anytime I want to. So we'll see how this all goes. Okay, sorry I didn't film this part, but so here's what I did. I ended up just using the 15-30 second bit you use to drill the pilot holes for these threaded insert. What I did was I countersunk just enough for the washer, okay? And then what I did is I just used that same bit for this hole. Now the reason I did that is using a bit that fits this bolt, you're not going to get alignment. I mean, you're just not, right? If things don't line up, you're crooked, all that crap. So what I decided to do is, let's just use the bigger hole, and then I can adjust these things. And I'm telling you what, when I bolt these down, these legs are solid as a rock. Now I am still epoxying these into the holes, and it's working out great. I thought I might need 3 on each side. I only need 2 on each side. I mean, I can't believe how sturdy these things are, you know, holding together. And this one isn't even all the way torqued down, and it's holding well. So anyway, I'm sorry I didn't film that part, but just to recap, I used the same bit as to set these in for both the hole and this. And all I did is I measured the bit, and then you see I used the old-fashioned way. I put some electrical tape for as deep as I need to go, and then I just drilled the holes. All right? Okay, here's the top of the table. This is the second coat that I just put on, so it's going to be a little glossy looking, but again, looking nice. We'll keep going. I haven't done the legs yet. My brother-in-law actually gave me a solution to the crossbar issue that I had, so I'm going to incorporate that into the legs. Okay, we have 3 coats on. It's feeling really good. It's looking really good. I love the color contrast with these inserts. I will give you a little word of caution here. I should have sanded these down even more because I guess I didn't take into account the glue. So they're not perfectly flush, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about that. It looks great, and the table's feeling really nice. So we're going to put on the 4th coat. I'll put on a total of 5 or 6. After the 3rd coat, I use a brand new sheet of sandpaper, and the grit on this sandpaper is 2500. Now we're going to take our tack cloth. We're just going to go over this. General Armor Seal. Hopefully you can see that. The satin, and this whole can so far has done both sides of the table and the corners. Now, I've got my rag and I got my ladle, and now what I'm doing here is I did stir it up, and now for these final coats, they're going to be fairly thin coats. So I'm really just dripping some here, dripping some of that halfway down, and then we're gonna kind of rub it in a little bit, and then we're gonna just start bringing this down. And then the thing is, if you need to go back over it, you wanna make like an airplane landing. And what I mean by that is, you'll notice I'm bringing it in for a landing. I'm gently bringing it on to the table, and now I've landed. Okay? So again, what I mean by that is, I'm starting here. I'm trying to go down the whole length of the table with the finish, but I may see some areas that I need to go over. Just make sure that you're pretty careful with what you're doing there. Like at the end here, see how I'm just kind of letting it fall set onto the table. So we'll let this coat set for about 6 to 8 hours. I'm trying to take my time here and not rush this, and then we'll see how it looks. I'll put on at least 1 more coat. I may do 2 more, and then I've got to work on the legs down here and get those all ready to go. Well, we've got the legs done, and the tabletop has 5 coats on it. You can see these butterflies, how they're popping here. They look gorgeous. And so now tomorrow we're going to bring it in the house, we're going to set it up and pull out the chairs and get the whole thing looking beautiful. Well, here's the finished product, folks. It's I'm going to try to get some light in here for you. This is how it came out. I think it came out pretty good. Bottom here, looking good. Look at the wood. It's just, you know, I've said it the whole time, it's gorgeous. But yeah, it came out really nice. I think it sits well in the dining room. Looks great. Legs are very sturdy. The table is extremely sturdy. It's not wobbling at all. The butterflies look good. And hey, after all the issues we had and everything we went through, I think it all turned out to be a pretty good project. And this is the table with all the chairs. Now remember, we got these chairs actually on Amazon, and they're really, really nice chairs. They were like about $100 a set of 2, and they are solid walnut. So if you look at these, you can see how that really goes with the table. They've got a nice pattern in them. Really like it. So that's it. I just want to thank everyone for sticking with me through this long, kind of drawn out video. I hope you all learned something. I know I did throughout the journey, and a lot of things that I'll be taking with me into the next project. So until then, I just want to wish all of you well, and thanks again for watching. Take care.